Okay, we've made it to the end of the month and we've been doing a lot of stuff, so there may be some sore spots, and you may have found some spots that are either resistance to change, not wanting to change really well, or maybe have some knots or some tight spots in your muscles. I've got a couple of things here that we're going to go over real quick just to try and address those. These are no substitute for a good pair of hands, but if this is all you have, you can try these, especially if you've seen someone and gotten things moving. This is a good way to keep it on your own, or as a way for you to give a shot at taking care of it, or at least trying to remedy a few things. Like I said, hands are good, massage, physical therapists, people like that. These are, just simple ways to give it a try. We're going to use the roller. I have a couple of favorites for the roller, a couple I use for the stick, and a couple with the ball there. So for the roller, I like to go after the glutes with this. So I'll just pitch over onto one cheek like I'm squishing a pocket full of grapes or something, and just roll through there. Now I'm going to do it a couple of different ways. I'm going to go through this quick here today, so you'll take longer with all of these when you do it. But sometimes slower, sometimes quicker, and sometimes right on spots that you found. And you'll just apply that to everything. Right? Sometimes slower, sometimes quicker, sometimes just right on spots. Especially if you find little points that are talking to you. Don't be too tough on don't do too much. But lots of the times these spots that are triggers are just resistant to move, like a knot tied in a rubber band. And we have to free that up so that the filaments will slide. So after going there, I'll bring a leg up and do some with the leg crossed. Now all the while, however far out this is, it's going to change the angle that this comes in. So it's going to change here to here. So you're just going to have to search around through all those. The same thing would go with this leg down. It could be out this way more or up this way more. So this gets into the glutes. This is good for those. I'll use this for back muscles as well. Now this is primarily where your ribs are. So not up in your neck and not down low back necessarily, just where your ribs are. And you're trying to get those muscles that go up and down your spine. And then you may want to drift off to the edges a little bit. I'll go into that space between my shoulder blade and spine a little, and then ultimately I'll come around under my arm and get the lats that are coming up around my arms to the back of my armpits. So I'll do those. And you may even have a few little clicks and adjustments through your spine as you go here. Just letting all those settle out. And then I also like to use the roller for the quads. So I'll get down here and get my quads a little bit with these. Now I can turn my legs out, feet out, and get the insides a little more. Or I could turn them in and kind of roll up onto the side a little and get the outer parts a little bit more. And these are oftentimes quite cranky. So take your time. You'll go slower than I'm going now. Same thing, sometimes slower, sometimes faster, sometimes just right on spots. Legs straight, legs bent, several different ways. So that kind of gets you through the roller. The stick, I like to use the stick for calves. It's really good for calves. And it's best to lean back against something so you can relax against it. I'll just stay here for now to do this, but I'll work through my calf the same way, all the way around, and I'll do it the same way, sometimes slower, sometimes faster, sometimes right on spots. You'll find a lot in here as well. This is something that you can also kind of do with a ball. So I'll use the ball for this as well sometimes. And then I also like the stick for necks, particularly if someone else is doing it to me. But you can kind of get this yourself this way. You can get your neck a little. You can, sitting up on something to where you can sort of be leaning forward and relax a little. Get your lower spine a little safer than the roller for the lower spots. It's good for there. So the neck one is good if you have someone to do this to you. This one works really well. You can also get forearms, which is where the balls come in handy again. I'll use a ball for this a lot. Forearms, same thing, sometimes slower, sometimes faster, sometimes right on spots. So take your time with this. And not as fast as I'm going here. And then I also love the balls for feet. So most of the time I'll do this standing, but this works well too. And same thing, sometimes slower, sometimes faster, sometimes right on the spots. So you're going to use these to try and, maybe coax some things into behaving or, getting in line if you're having sticky places. If you're working on them and it's just not changing, it's just not working, it's a good thing to consider having somebody take a look at them. But if you get these things moving and keep them moving, the hardest part is getting them moving. Keeping them moving, these can help with that, help a lot. So these are things you can do towards the end, at the beginning, depending on your needs, anytime really. I'll put them in for a few sessions, but after that, just kind of do them as needed. Great things to do when you're just sitting around as well, just to work off the day, get your feet relaxed after a day of being on them, putting pressure there. So again, it's just about making space, getting tissues moving, getting the joints moving. Enjoy.